I was given a rebounder to try, and this little thing surprised me more than I expected. If you're new here, welcome to Loving Life Over 50, where we talk about science, strategy, and straight talk without the drama, dogma, or diet culture nonsense. Now, before we get into it, I want to be upfront. The rebounder I tried was gifted to me, and I'll leave the link to the one that I used in the description. I'm sharing my honest experience because I think that we can enjoy a tool, talk about why it might help, and still keep our feet planted in reality. The one that I tried was by Fed Fitness. I am very excited that my trampoline from Fed Fitness has arrived. And I was going to show opening it, but it is sealed up tight. So I've already taken it out of the box itself, and let's go ahead and get everything unpackaged and see what is in it. So it is Fed Fitness, and the model is a BCAN fitness trampoline 40-inch. Okay, the first small box appears to be the legs that it stands on, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed. These babies are some heavy-duty little legs. Looks like it's got good supports on the bottom. They are solid, and pretty happy with that. Okay, the second box is all the hardware and the handle. Again, very well built, and the instruction manual is also very well put together. There's a ton of information, and there's also a QR code, which is always helpful if people want to do it digitally. And you know what? I like a little thank you. It's a tiny gesture, but I like it. So very impressed so far. It's a pretty simple unit, but very well put together. They also include some jumping socks. We used to take our kids to the trampoline park when they were young, and they had socks there, and they always worked really well. So I'm not sure if I'll be jumping barefoot or if I will be using the socks, but they are great to have if needed. Okay, I opened up the rest, and there is also a phone holder, which I love that feature. Who doesn't want to be able to be on their phone when they're jumping? I also noticed that there was a second pair of socks, which is great. One's in the laundry. You don't have to wait for them to be finished. And then also some strength bungees, which I really appreciate. Kind of excited to try those out. And so that's it. Really well laid out, lots of well-designated instructions, and I'm excited to get started. I guess the most important part is sharing the trampoline itself. Really well made, heavy-duty material. Looks like it has great support, and I am so excited to get started on this. At this stage of life, I care less about whether exercise looks impressive and more about whether it feels safe, doable, worth repeating, and isn't beating up my body. The first thing that I noticed about the rebounding is that it does not feel like traditional exercise. And I mean that in the best possible way. A lot of us were taught that exercise only counts if it feels hard. We are sweaty, exhausted, or slightly miserable. Somewhere along the way, movement became something that we had to survive. If we were sore the next day, it counted. If we hated every minute but finished it anyway, that was supposed to mean we were disciplined. And listen, there is absolutely a place for a challenge. I still go to the gym 2 to 3 days a week, and I'm not replacing strength training with a tiny trampoline and calling it a retirement plan. Muscle, walking, and mobility still matters. But after 50, the conversation has to get more practical. The best workout is not always the hardest one. Sometimes the best workout is the one that we will actually do again tomorrow. And that's where the rebounder caught my attention. You do not need a gym, and you do not need a whole production. With this rebounder, you can step on, hold the handlebar if you want to, and start with a gentle, healthy bounce. The feet can stay on the mat. The movement can be small, and it doesn't have to be dramatic movement to be useful. That's one of the reasons I think this could be such a nice fit after 50. It gives us a way to move without making movement feel like punishment. And that matters because a lot of people are not struggling because they don't know exercise is important. We know it. We've heard it from doctors, trainers, podcasters, books, social media, and probably a few relatives who should have minded their own business. The real struggle is consistency. It's getting started when we feel tired. It's finding something that doesn't irritate the knees, hips, feet, back, or patience. It's choosing movement that fits into a real day instead of requiring a perfect day. And I found the Rebounder feels useful because it makes movement easy to access. It can be 2 minutes, it can be 5 minutes, it can be a little rest between tasks. It can be warm up before strength training or something that we do when walking outside is not happening because weather is miserable or the day has already taken our last nerve. And that makes it practical, and I think practical is underrated. A lot of people abandon exercise because the entry point is just too big. The plan asks too much too soon. The workout is too intense. The recovery is too long. The whole thing starts to feel like one more obligation in a life already full of obligations. Rebounding has a different feel. There's something playful about it. I know that sounds almost too simple, but that's part of the point. If movement feels a little bit lighter, we might be less likely to resist it. And after 50, that lighter doorway can make a real difference. Because we're not just trying to burn calories. We're trying to build a life where movement belongs. The reason rebounding feels different is because the surface underneath us is different. The mat gives underneath us. That little bit of movement changes everything. The body has to respond. The feet, ankles, calves, hips, core, and posture muscles all get pulled into the conversation. The brain has to pay attention to where the body is in space. Even with a small bounce, the body's making constant little adjustments. And this is what I found so interesting. The real value is not jumping high. We're not trying to audition for a circus act or test the structural integrity of the ceiling fan. The value is in the repeated corrections of the body. Every bounce asks the body to find center again. And that challenges balance, coordination, rhythm, and body awareness in a really controlled way. Balance is not just something that we either have or lose. Balance is something that the nervous system practices. The body learns through repetition. It learns through responding to small shifts. It learns when the feet and the ankles have to adjust, when the hips have to stabilize, and when the core has to quietly help us stay upright. And this is where rebound can be more useful than it looks. From the outside, it might look like gentle bouncing. Inside the body, however, there is a lot more communication going on. There's an older NASA study that is often mentioned in rebounding conversations. It compared trampoline jumping with treadmill running and found that trampoline jumping created meaningful biomechanical stimulation, while oxygen use and heart rate were comparable. In plain English, bouncing may look gentle, but the body is still getting a lot of input from the movement. Now, I wouldn't use that study to claim rebounding is a miracle because we're not doing miracle marketing here. But I do think that it supports something that we can feel pretty quickly when we step on the rebounder. The body is working in a different way than it does on solid ground. That's also why I appreciated the bungee feel on the rebounder that I tried. It felt smoother and softer than the old spring trampoline that some of us remember, where every bounce sounded like a haunted screen door. The softer feel matters because one of the biggest barriers to movement after 50 is clearly comfort. If something feels jarring, harsh, or intimidating, we're less likely to repeat it. If something feels supportive and controlled, it becomes easier to try. My body, after years of running, needs supportive and controlled, not jarring. And that part surprised me too. My lower back doesn't feel the impact of the bounce, and I was thrilled about that. Now, for somebody who feels steady, maybe the handlebar is just there as an option. But for someone who feels unsure, that handlebar might be the reason they're willing to step on it in the first place. And I like that. Support is not cheating. Support is smart. We do not need to make exercise harder just to prove a point. We need to make it useful enough and safe enough that we can build from where we are. And that's the part that I think people miss with rebounding. It's not just cardio. Yes, it can raise your heart rate. Yes, it can be used as a quick indoor movement break. But the bigger value might be that it asks the whole body to coordinate. It kind of reminds me of the time in my life when I was a swimmer. And coordination is one of those things that we do not think about until it starts slipping away. We want our feet to know where they are. We want our ankles to respond. We want our hips to stabilize and our core to help out without needing a written invitation. That kind of body awareness helps us move through real life with more confidence. And that's why this tiny trampoline deserves a little bit more respect than I think it gets. After 50, movement needs to be more than burning calories. Honestly, calorie burn is probably the least interesting reason to move. Movement is how we keep participating in our own lives. It's how we maintain strength, balance, mobility, confidence, circulation, and independence. It's how we remind the body that we still expect it to work with us. If we ask it to sit most of our days, it gets very good at sitting. If we ask it to avoid stairs, uneven ground, bending, carrying, reaching, or anything that feels uncertain, the body gets less confident doing those things. That's adaptation. The body is always listening. So one question after 50 becomes, what are we practicing? Are we practicing avoidance or are we practicing capability? Rebounding might help us because it gives a small, manageable way to practice movement, balance, and rhythm at the same time without turning the whole thing into a big workout event. And that matters because confidence for a lot of people can shrink us quietly. We may start avoiding certain paths, stairs, curbs, uneven grasses, slippery sidewalks, or anything that feels a little unpredictable. At first, it feels like we're being careful, and sometimes being careful is wise. But over time, careful can turn into avoidance, and avoidance can turn into less confidence. I would rather practice small corrections on a rebounder than wait until later in life when the edge of a curb reminds me that my ankles have retired without notice. This is also where the bone conversation comes in. After menopause, bone health deserves more attention. Bones respond to mechanical input, and that does not mean that everyone needs a high-impact workout. It also does not mean that rebounding is automatically right for every person with osteoporosis or balance concerns. But it does mean that movement that gives the body gentle, repetitive input might be worth considering. Some research in postmenopausal women has looked at mini trampoline exercise and found promising improvements in areas like bone density and stress urinary incontinence scores. Now, I would not turn that into a big dramatic claim, but it does support the idea that this kind of movement might offer more than people expect when they first look at a small trampoline. And that's the theme here. A lot of what works after 50 does not have to look dramatic. Protein, walking, strength training with basic movements do not look dramatic. Going to bed on time definitely does not look dramatic, although some nights feel like it's a heroic act. The things that support health are often really simple. The hard part is repeating them. Somewhere along the way, a lot of exercise advice became very joyless. Everything became about discipline, tracking, burning, optimizing, correcting, and fixing. And yes, data can definitely be helpful. You know I love good data. But if movement never feels enjoyable, it becomes one more thing that we have to force. Rebounding has a little play built right into it. And that doesn't make it childish, it makes it human. Play is also one of the ways that we learn. It lowers resistance. It makes us more willing to engage. And for someone who's spent years feeling like exercise is a punishment, That playful feeling might be exactly what helps them start again. That's why I see rebounding as a bridge. It's not the whole plan. It doesn't replace strength training, protein, sleep, recovery, or all of the other things that matter. But it can be one place that helps movement feel less intimidating and more available. Now, if I were starting from scratch, I would not begin with a rebounder workout. I begin with the health bounce. That simply means standing on the rebounder and gently bouncing. The feet can stay on the mat. The heels may lift slightly, but they don't have to. The knees can stay soft, and the movement stays really small. This is not high jumping. This is just letting the body get familiar with the bouncing movement. And I would start with 2 to 5 minutes. Truly. I know that sounds small, but that's the point. When something is new, the body needs time to learn it. The calves and the feet might notice. The balance system might be more challenged than expected. The pelvic floor might give feedback. The body might need a few sessions to understand what is happening. So we don't need to turn day one into a personal growth documentary. We know how that goes. We get excited, we do too much, we wake up the next morning with calves that feel personally betrayed, and the rebounder becomes a very expensive laundry holder. We're not doing that here. Start small enough that the body wants to come back tomorrow. Not impressive, repeatable. Some people might feel better with shoes for support, and some might prefer barefoot if it feels safe and comfortable. Usually some socks that have texture on them also come with it, and I found that really helpful. I would not turn that into a rule. I would turn it into body awareness, whatever works best for you. Use what helps you feel steadiest. Keep the bounce low, keep the knees soft, let the shoulders relax, hold on if needed, and then stop before fatigue turns the movement sloppy. And if you have vertigo, significant balance issues, osteoporosis, joint pain, pelvic floor symptoms, recent surgery, or any other medical conditions that bouncing might be questioned, check with a qualified professional first. That is not fear, that is wisdom. The body gets a vote, always. Once the health bounce starts to feel comfortable, then we can build gradually. It might become a warm-up before strength training. It might become a short afternoon reset. It might become a few minutes with music when motivation is low. Maybe it becomes an indoor option when walking outside is not happening. That flexibility is one of the things that I like most about it. It doesn't have to be a full workout to be useful. It can simply be a way to keep movement in the day. So here is where I land with rebounding. I like it. I like that it feels simple. I like that it feels playful. I like that it challenges balance and coordination without feeling punishing. I like that it gives the body something to respond to, and I like that it makes movement feel doable. All of those are universal benefits. Now, I will leave the link below to the one that I used if you want to take a look. But more than the rebounder itself, I like the bigger lesson. Sometimes the movement that matters most is not the hardest one. Sometimes it's the one that we are actually willing to repeat. And if a tiny trampoline helps us do that with a little bit more joy, I am in. Now, I would love to know what you think. Does rebounding look fun, intimidating, ridiculous, or maybe a little bit of all three? And let me know if you tried it and what your experience was. I would love to hear. And as always, be good to yourself, be good to others, and keep loving life over 50.